Hello and welcome again to DanWhiteBooks, the book review channel where we review books and give it a little bit of insight into the world so distant, sometimes so different, to that of our own. Today's video is of a highly influential dystopian book written in 1985 by Margaret Atwood, that being The Handmaid's Tale, a heartbreaking book set in a heartbreaking world. This book takes place in a future so different to our own, a place of fear and a place of horror whereby women are assigned a commander, a high-ranking military man, and are forced to copulate with them in the hope they will get pregnant. We meet our main character living in the state of Gilead, whose birth name is since gone. Sex, desire, love, even a mirror, all gone. These words are taboo. Any imagery relating to this has since been destroyed, and books, well, they're a long gone thing of the past. Now, this is a hard book to review, mainly because of the subject it touches on. That is to say, it is hard for me to construct a video with relevant imagery. The world we're about to visit is one whereby women are worth next to nothing bar their ability to raise a child, and I'm sure you can imagine what that can bring. However, I will say this is an important book with a powerful message. Even if in a paralyzing future, one where the US government has been eradicated and the Constitution has been suspended. Our central character is a handmaid, a woman deemed of high value for the fact that she is young, fertile, and has given birth before. She is required to wear an all-red dress with a white visor that sticks out in front of her. This is to ward off any prying eyes and works both ways. She has next to no civil rights, and that includes the control of her own reproductive organs. It is her duty as a handmaid to take part in a ceremony whereby the commander has sex with her for the pure purpose of impregnation. These commanders are older men and high-ranking officials of the state. They have wives whom they are committed to, or however, the wives are infertile. They must watch this act as a service in the hope they will be gifted a child. For this is justified as the only way mankind can survive and live under the eyes of God in a new world where Old Testament values are held strong. I must state here that this sex is not an act of passion. It is neither anything of love or desire. It is an empty act whereby the only goal is impregnation. It is a dark act deemed necessary by the state, an emotional switch off where our character stares up at the ceiling until it's all over. No words are exchanged, and when the act is finished, she returns to her room. We meet our character when she first arrives at the commander's house she is to live with until her duty is done. Her tenure ends when she's able to bear a child of healthy nature, although in this world that is a rare thing indeed. She is unable to keep this baby, and instead it must be passed on to the household for the care of the commander and his wife. The wives are elderly and bitter women, and after a tense encounter we are left with our character's own thoughts in her minimal and new bedroom. There's no glass to break, no chandelier to hang from. Every precaution has been taken after past suicides from the people who've been in her position before. She's not allowed to read, she's not allowed to write. We're taking through her life and her relationships with those around her, the struggles and the worries, the eyes and the prejudice. It's a tense tale and a dark tale. What really caught my attention here was the almost poetic writing style that goes on to describe this woman's thoughts and feelings. Written through the eyes of the character in a first-person journal-like narrative, she speaks of the times past, the world losing itself as she remembers her life before, and she is but one of the first in this new totalitarian state of America. She remembers the notion of love, the people she has lost, her own daughter being taken away. All the handmaids do, and this telling is slowly revealed through emotionally intense flashbacks where you discover the story and tragedy this woman has gone through. The characters are worth mentioning here, particularly the commander, who at first you may think has a sympathetic side, that perhaps he's just caught up in this mess. You see, this is a tale not as clear-cut as it first seems. You're introduced to a side of mystery, and it's only later you learn of what this woman's purpose is. Slowly you begin to hate the commander, realizing he's no difference to the rest. Other characters were introduced to her former lover, Luke, through a series of tales where she thinks back on him in the past. There's much more to this tale than I've mentioned here. The world is deathly. A wall hangs betrayers by hooks for all the public to see. Handmaids come to shops in pairs, and through the discussions, greater insight is added into the madness around us. And then comes the end, of which I will of course not reveal, but it was particularly this section that comes after the end that made me change this review and rate it a little bit higher. It was a beautiful way to tie things up and further add to the mystery of this book. So what would I rate it? Excellent characters, beautiful writing, and a complete immersion through the eyes of our central character. I would rate The Handmaid's Tale a 90 out of 100. This is a gripping tale that left me wanting more, and that's a good thing, because as you may know, some 35 years later, Margaret Atwood has released a sequel to this book called The Testaments, and you can be sure I bought it. I will be reviewing that book soon. But until then, thank you very much for watching. This is a book I'd really recommend you pick up. It is quite dark in parts, but it is very well written. I bloody loved the writing style in here, the detail, the almost poetic feel to it, and I would certainly recommend it, especially if you're into dystopian books. And you know, it's quite a relevant book. Pick it up and see what you think. Thank you again for watching. This is DanWhiteBooks. Good night.